many things they had to consider to change these things. So this is just one of those things that's going to change as well. I know.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when we enter into worlds that we haven't been in, there's no consideration of being different, because things have been so white, and that white has been considered as right, that when we enter into a world, our presence has to force a new conversation. So if anything, be encouraged to keep pressing, to keep moving, make them talk about it, make rules change.
Welcome to Black Women's World Podcast, the BWWP, where we get VIP access into the lives of Black women, or as we like to call us here, our Sister Nistas. We get to hear from some of our favorite Sister Nistas as they share their worlds with us and create connections, exchange realities, ideas, and baby, we get to recognize and celebrate how powerful we really are. Our sisterhood here is real, filled with peace, wisdom, hope, love, light, and laughter. You know, the kind you can feel, the kind of encouragement that confirms we can do anything because we have, and the kind of inspiration that proves we can be even greater. This is our world, where if you ain't a Black woman, you may want to be one, or definitely get to know one. It's a Black women's world, and we welcome our Sister Nista lovers too. Welcome to our queendom. I'm your self-discovery companion, your professional peacemaker, and I'm your host, Tracy Mack. Come on in and relax and sit with me for just a little while. Peace.
Well, hello, everybody. I am Tracy Mack, your self-discovery companion and the professional peacemaker and host of Black Women's World Podcast. That's the BWWP, baby. And I have with me Dina Hamilton and Javon Cookie Jones, who are the two best in all of podcast land, the two best co-hosts there is. Fight me on it if you want to. But anyway, how are you all doing today, Dina and Javon?
Good.
Yep, doing great. Looks like a storm's in the background, Javon.
Yes, ma'am. Some kind of tropical mess.
Yes, I think that's Elsa is her name. But anyway, we have a whole lot going on in our lives as well as in the world. So we want to kind of jump right into some things. But as it pertains to Black women, Dina and Javon know I'm not a hot topic type person. I don't like to follow the news in the sense of talking about things just to talk about it without a solution. But when it comes to Black women, because I started it, remember, to illuminate Black women who don't get the publicity, who aren't recognized, who are overlooked. But there's some topics where we just got to bring it in. So I'm just going to shoot it out there. We got Tabitha Brown, everybody's favorite vegan. We got Sha'Carri Richardson, who had the potential to be, and still has the potential to be, the fastest woman in the world. And then we've got this whole hair, bonnets, swim cap, this whole controversy. So we're just going to kind of jump into it in a way that hopefully will come out at the end. This conversation is going to be very organic. We'll come out on the end with something that will be relevant to you and helpful, and even help all of us with some solutions. So Dina, where you want to jump in at?
Oh, let's talk about the most famous read of them all. My word, can we talk about the lovely and the beautiful Tabitha Brown for a minute, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So have a great day, and if you can't, don't go messing up anybody else's either. Oh my.
Wait a minute, you got to finish it. You hear?
Yeah. And as a native North Carolinian, I could hear it all, but she did it so eloquently.
Yes.
I heard the read before I knew what was going on.
Yes.
The read made me go back and was like, what happened? What did I miss?
Yeah. Javon?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I said that was the most graceful blast I've ever heard. But I give her props. I said, you know what? She could have said so many things. You know me, I would have been all on the Wendy, what? you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
she just did it so gracefully and in a tactful way to where Wendy can't say anything.
yeah.
Wendy got to bow down, you know.
Yeah, yeah, because even
Okay.
with Wendy Williams, because she's a black woman too. So I don't like to bash any other black woman at all.
Mhm.
I'm not a Wendy Williams fan. I've always been one to say it's funny until she talks about you, or it's intriguing until she talks about you. And I think that's where the people kind of drew the line. But to Wendy's point, a lot of women feel that way when it comes to supporting a spouse who you could get burned. I mean, when we really look at it, that's what a prenup is all about.
Right.
When so people don't argue about prenups, at least most people. Oh, some of us can understand the logic. But when it comes to two people who are married, and people who have gotten divorced because one person supported the other one and things didn't work out. So I'm not a fan of Wendy Williams, but just to have to play devil's advocate, there is a point to what was said. Now I've been following Tabitha Brown not too long after she did the first Whole Foods review because I had some issues and I tried to go vegan. It didn't work for me. But I do eat a lot of vegan meals, so she's very influential. But I looked at the support that she talked about. I identified with that in my own life because Wendy looked at it as my money, his money.
Right.
But I'm with Tab, especially in my own marriage. We've had times where I made more money, my husband made more money, where he supported me, I supported him. So it's our money. So it's
Right.
not him supporting me supporting him. It's we supporting each other, and one of us just happen to take the lead. What y'all think about that?
Go ahead, Dina.
I'm in full agreement with that. And I think that if you've never seen what that looks like, then it would be strange for
Right.
you to see that. Like, and you could probably, I can go back to my childhood on, we had very traditional roles in our house. So, that was my father's role. He was the provider. Did not and I'll say did not allow second jobs and those type things. My mother supported the children. But he took care of everything else, and that was the traditional role that I grew up with. But if you ain't never seen nobody support nobody, like my father sent all of us to college, including my mother. But if you've never seen anybody support anybody like that, then it would be difficult for you to see. Now, are there risks? Yes, and I think that we all, even sitting here, if I can't say that it wasn't anything that crossed my mind early on in my marriage, then I would be lying. But that was a real step out and a walk of faith. And that is what I held on to. And that is what Tabitha was talking about.
Yeah.
When she said her marriage was rooted, it was grounded.
Right.
In the word, and how she and her husband, that's who they kept first in their relationship and who has been first in their relationship. And I really think that once you grow together, and I think she said over 20 years, once you've grown together, you do have that faith in your higher power. You have that faith in the other person. And in that marriage, she talks so lovingly about their relationship and how they really just wanted to make each other happy. He got a job there, moved there. He did all of that for her.
Yeah.
Else, they would have still been in North Carolina. But because she had a dream, he supported her dream and uprooted and moved the entire family to Los Angeles. And hence, all these years later, she is reaping the benefit of his sacrifice.
Because it was a mutual investment.
Correct.
Her testimonies, they saved $8,000. Now, some people wouldn't even move across the street on $8,000, much less across the country, go to the opposite end of our coast. But it takes a relationship of building together. And that to me, but Javon, let me let you go. What's your take on it?
No, I was going to say a lot of people don't understand that because they don't understand the relationship. Some people go into relationships with that financial agreement. Some people go into relationships based on love, God, the foundations are totally different. So when you go into that relationship with, I got your back, you got my back, no matter what. And that's what basically Tabitha was saying, that, she could retire her husband. And a lot of people think retire your husband, meaning he's going to go in the backyard in the pool and swim all day and watch pornography all day while I'm...
Not what she said.
Yeah, I mean, they have this mindset that he's going to do whatever and however while I go out here and bust my back. But retiring him could just mean he rolls with her, helps her. And that's the life I've lived, even though when I was married, I remember early in my relationship, I got sick. Early, me and my baby. I had one child and we both got really sick with the upper respiratory infection, would not go away. Long story short, my husband said, don't go back to work. I work for a major financial institution. He said, you don't need that job. I got you. And I was not used to that in my life. I'm used to getting it, doing it, whatever. And I was put down. And then after I realized my child needs me and this man needs me in a way that I cannot give to this financial institution like they want me to at home. So for him to somewhat at that time retire me in my 20s, it was like, whoa, I didn't want for anything. I didn't need anything. I didn't miss my income because he did it all. So fast forward, we're not together anymore. So it's like, oh, I got to get it. But at the same time, if I needed to pick up that phone and say, look, man, I am struggling. I need you to retire me again. It's not the fact that I'm sitting home. It's just the fact that, and I'm not bragging when I say this, it's just the fact that he still got my back. It's the relationship that was built. We're friends, period. If I needed that, we're friends. And he know I'm not going to sit there and use him, lie or anything like that. It's just what it is, period.
Yeah.
So I get it on both. But like I said, a lot of people don't understand relationships.
Yeah. It's all about
and this relationship was not what Tabitha has. So she was hurt and burnt in her relationship. And it's so unfortunate. We all get hurt and burnt in different areas. So she's basing it off of her experience.
Yeah. And both of you, it's so true because, and that's why I won't beat Wendy up. Tab did that by herself, but I know a lot of everybody, Tab got the I forget what her posse is called, but everybody's using avocados as the emoji to support Tab, and she deserves it. At the same time, like I said, I'm not going to beat Wendy up because it's from her perspective. She had an experience in her life that her support of her husband yielded a different crop.
Well, she's not the only one. I mean,
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, Mary J. Blige went through the same thing.
Yes.
She talked about it and it made her millions.
I mean, yes, she sang about it, 11 years. So, I should have left your ass 1,000 times
ago. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. It's the reality. But I think several things you all said is, first of all, you got to define support.
Correct.
And then when you grow into the relationship together, Javon, I have some similar story to yours. When I met Owen, we both were on two different financial planes. I was doing it. He was in the military, E4 or 5 at the time. It's not a lot of money. Well, I was making, big money.
Mm-hmm.
And then the roles reversed. During our marriage, I got sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then they reversed again when, so it was never, the money is just a means of being able to barter with other people. But when you make those decisions among yourself, Dina said earlier, we all take risk when we participate into something or invest into somebody. I don't care what it is. We're going to all take a risk at some point in time, but it's like, I'm going to bet on us. Yeah. I'm not so much betting on you. I'm going to bet on us because we built this thing together. And support looks different. I know a lot of people, they have, I love Black love. I don't look at Black love on TV and be remiss from it. Most of my favorite couples, I know. Most of my favorite couples, they've been to my house and I've been to theirs. And I still admire those other couples. But when I see Black love, that's people I know. Even what Javon said with her, situation with her husband, he's still one of my dudes.
Right.
That's still, they're not married like that. But, I look at it and I'm thinking, I've seen all of the couples I know make sacrifices to be together. So I don't know Wendy's side, but I've had clients who have had to deal with that side and having to regrow and lack of trust. I mean, ain't none of our marriages been a walk in the park, but we haven't had those financial catastrophes, where somebody's just blatantly, you felt done wrong. And so I want to give people hope and encouragement, whether you have the Wendy story, that's a justifiable experience, or you have the Tabitha Brown story, you still a Sister Nista.
Right.
That's your walk in life. Y'all got anything before we segue to the other?
Yeah, I think no matter the relationship, whether it's a friendship or intimate relationship, it's all going to bear some amount of risk. And if you're not willing to get your heart, if you're not willing to be broken, then you're not ready for love, because you will be broken when it comes to this thing called love. But don't do yourself a disservice and think that when you are in relationship that you have to do it all by yourself, because that's what a relationship is about. It's about two people. It's not it's not about one person doing. It's about two people doing for each other together.
Yeah. Huh?
I said, I'm in agreement. That's enough said.
Yeah, enough said.
Stay tuned for more of the BWWP.
Located at 3527 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Virginia, Blooderism Training Center presents Kapow. Our classes are not only to empower women, but to also educate anyone with a desire to learn. We offer self-defense, crime prevention, concealed to carry certification, and much more.
Knowledge of life protects brother women. Build your confidence with us today.
Visit www.kapowva.com.
You're listening to Black Women's World Podcast. Let's continue the conversation.
And when we're thinking about all those aspects of a relationship, I'm gonna jump right into Sha'Carri Richards, a wonderful athlete, an amazing athlete, and when I hear people talk about people taking sides, they should change the rule, or she shouldn't have done this or whatever. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's the way she chose to deal with grief. But one thing I love about the support she's getting, especially from her LSU family, and what she said, she's owning her mistake. But some people in the public don't even want her to own it. She's owning, this is what I did. I knew the consequences. And so people are like, they should change the rule. Well, maybe they should. But at this time, the rule, she knew what the rules were and are. So what y'all say about that?
Oh, I was thinking a lot of things about it, because she was saying that the reason that she did use marijuana was because of dealing with grief from the loss of her mother. It was so many things that happened at that time. She was told during an interview that her mom passed. That was kind of hurtful too. She didn't even know. And they asked her how she felt about her mom. But fast forward, she did, if you want to say break the rules or commit a crime or whatever it might be, she did that. But how many of y'all would even be interviewing after you lost your mother? Less than 2 weeks now? How many people would interview on Today's Show? How many of you would even accept an interview after that level of devastation?
Especially from having been so high.
Correct.
Because it's amazing. We all deal with grief different. I think everybody says we all make mistakes, but yet we point the finger so harshly at people when they do. Here's a young Black woman. We already don't know. Imagine the level of discipline she has to be the athlete that she is. So it's no issue with discipline. You know, the only thing I questioned, or should I say, the only thing that concerned me was where were her friends?
Correct. To say, hey,
for
no,
this.
can't.
Not that they should be at fault because she's an adult, she made the decision. But your support system, could it have been in place that maybe another way of coping? So on that point, and then I'm gonna let you go, and I gotta make this other point. What pissed me off is weed flags as a drug that cannot be used. Of course, it's not performance enhancing. If anything, she will be slower. But she could have taken a prescription opioid and it not pop. It wouldn't have been a negative reaction.
Right.
She could have taken Oxycontin. So you want a prescription, a chemical that man has made versus something that grows out the ground. And so that whole thing with me, you know, is kind of teetering. So I'm like, where was her support system? And if you're going to use performance enhancing drug as the reason why she's now disqualified, is it really performance enhancing? But Dina, go.
Well, the first thing about the support system is when you're dealing with grief, that's something you and only you are dealing with. And you don't really want a lot of people around because you're having to handle this all on your own. I'm not even sure if a person could have done anything. And just think, when you were 20 something, when I was 20 something, I didn't want to be told anything anyway, because I was in my mind, I was a grown and I was an adult, and you have to go back to your 20 something state. And in your 20 something state, most of my friends still have their parents. So they're not, including myself. What do you do to support someone in that particular state at that particular age? You do what 20-year-olds do, whatever that is. So that's the one thing about the support. I'm sure she had the support. Whatever support that will make that young woman get up out of the bed is support, whatever that is.
Yeah, I think her grandmother was in her life, and another female. I don't know if she was an Olympian, but another track star. But I agree with you, Dina. So that allows me to see through another lens on going back to 20 and what grief looks like. Because even I haven't dealt with grief on that level. But even when I'm sick, because I've dealt with sickness almost all my life, different flare-ups, and I have autoimmune issues where I don't want anybody around. And people have been offended, where, they want to help, they want to do. And it's like, I need all of my energy to heal me, And so, but I've gotten better because I hope I've gotten better with my relationships. But I get that seeing it through the lenses you just showed is that maybe she was at a place, because obviously she's very creative in her style, her lashes, her hair, her nails. So somebody that's that bold and being themselves could potentially be that bold in how they care for themselves and who they listen to. Javon, what do you say?
Oh, it's like I said, so many things I'm thinking at 20 years old, I was the greatest at my craft. And I say that musically, I was the best. But I was also reckless in some other areas. So can I judge my whole life based on the recklessness? I was still great. So I'm looking at it like Sha'Carri is still the fastest woman in the world. That marijuana did not enhance her speed, period. It did not do that. We know that. So imagine if she didn't have that marijuana in her system. She would be labeled as the fastest woman ever. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense to try to hold that against her. I do understand the rules, but she's still fastest.
And speaking of fastest, I mean, as it pertains to the Olympics, and I know we've got Simone Biles and several other Black women gymnasts who can still potentially rock these Olympics. But also, as it pertains to Black women, Cullen Jones, who is the young Black swimmer who medaled gold in 2008. And what makes that relevant to Black Women's World podcast is it goes to our hair. The International Swimming Federation declined a request from a Black company called Soul Cap to allow Black swimmers to use a cap that our hair could fit under. And they denied the request. And the owners of Soul Cap are Tox Ahmed and Michael Chapman. And for them to deny it, and because they said it changed they couldn't allow it because putting all the hair into the cap would change the shape of the head. Now, because they got so much public backlash about it, they're reconsidering. And I think that verdict should be in within the next few days, if it's not already in by the time this show airs. What do you all think about that? Because we've gone from Monique talking about bonnets to Black women's hair always being criticized. We've got the Crown Act that we just celebrated in the last couple of weeks. So we wouldn't be discriminated against because how our hair grows out of our head. So we got the bonnet thing, our hair. It seems like it's always something that the world comes at the Black woman about. And maybe education would help, but I know I need swim cap that's different, because I can go to Dick's Sporting Goods and everywhere else, and every swim cap is too tight for my hair. So imagine someone with longer locks or a bigger fro. Dina, you mentioned having your girls needing a cap.
Yeah, so the girls and I have been taking swim lessons this summer, and I had their hair braided for the swim lessons, but they still needed a cap. So I had to find a cap that was large enough to put all of their braids under the cap. Let me tell you something. Well, they do make them. And as you know, this particular company submitted for the Olympics. So they make them and all of their braids go up under. Now, this is a side note. One child puts their braids up and she looks like the cone head. So by the time she put all her braids up, the cap is standing all the way up here. But her braids are under the cap. And that's all they want is for their hair to all I need is for their hair to be protected. They don't care. They just jump in there any kind of way. But I get that. And it goes so much deeper for, I think, the Black woman, because it starts when we were girls. I mean, we've done an episode on the BWWP regarding Black hair and how we grew up. And first off, it's amazing that she even made it this far as a swimmer, because most Black women do not even get near the pool. We get near the pool, but we don't get in it because we don't want to mess up our hair, you know. So now that we gotten over that particular hump, and now we are competing on the highest levels, I'm not exactly sure how I feel. I know how I feel, but how to articulate my feelings as far as why we cannot have a product that will protect our hair, because it's clearly different, and I'm not exactly sure why you're trying to make it that it's not. And if anything, it'll slow us down and not speed us up, just like the marijuana use. You know? So we always have to work against the disadvantage. We always have a disadvantage, and we always have to work against it. And, you know, we always, when we work hard enough, we always come out on top. So I don't know what this particular thing here is about, but I really hope that they find a solution that is in a positive nature for all women and not just some women.
Yeah. Javon?
I just feel like it's just another stumbling block, you know, for Black women. We've faced everything you can think of. Now you're going to talk about a swim cap? Like, come on, I've made it this far and I cannot wear the cap that secures my hair. We all know chlorine will tear our hair apart if it's not rinsed or washed out properly. So if we find something that secures our hair and braids and everything else, why not? I don't see why it should disqualify you, or it's not an enhancement to, it doesn't have a motor or anything attached to help you,
That
move
whole
forward
motor.
faster. I mean, it makes no sense. It's just something else to set you back. I don't understand it. I will never understand it. Probably why I don't swim. But it's just one of those things that just adds up to the rest of the things. Like, here we go again with something else. But I believe we're gonna get past this too. Just like everything else, keep striving for greatness, and we're gonna get past this. This is a subject that's so touchy. It's minute to some people, but it's major for us as Black women because it's always something to set us back. In the military, they had so many restrictions with hair, and things have changed so much because Black hair is so different. It comes in different colors. Even if you don't color it yourself, we have redheads. We have, some blondes and people with white streaks and birthmarks in their hair, no pigmentation. So many things they had to consider to change these things. So this is just one of those things that's going to change as well. I know.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when we enter into worlds that we haven't been in, there's no consideration of being different because things have been so white, and that white has been considered as right, that when we enter into a world, our presence has to force a new conversation. So if anything, be encouraged to keep pressing, to keep moving, make them talk about it, make rules change. The Crown Act, in some states, they honor it, some states they don't. But anytime you're going to discriminate against someone simply because of how their hair grows out of their head, then that's a problem.
Correct.
So so we should continue to push because we as Black women have had to overcome. We're not going to stop now. We keep coming, and we will keep coming. Sister Nistas, that style, that moxie, that class, being royal, everything, your authenticity. These stories, whether it be Wendy Williams, Tabitha Brown, whether it be Olympics or in sports, keep coming, keep pushing, keep moving. And it's not that we're trying to take anyone's seat from the table. We just want to be at the table too. We paid the price to be here. They've gone to practice. They've done everything they need to do. And so our hair, like Javon said, chlorine would destroy our hair as it pertains to a swimmer and of the like. So we've got different things, but as Sister Nistas and Sister Nista lovers all over the world, we want to welcome this week, Australia last week came in, and them in Denmark. So no matter what country you're in, our top 5 cities in the United States, North Carolina, Atlanta, Texas, Chicago, California, and New York, or wherever you are in the world, in the land of Sister Nista, we want you to own your Blackness.
That's right.
I don't care what they say or do. Own your Blackness. Be bold and unapologetic. I'm Tracy Mack. Thank God for my 2 co-hosts, Javon Cookie Jones and Dina Hamilton. Much love and peace.
See you later.
You've been listening to Black Women's World Podcast, the BWWP, brought to you in part by Tracy Mack, Solutions for Life Institute, coaching and training services. No doubt you have enjoyed being in our world, and it doesn't have to stop here. Head on over to blackwomensworld.com. This is my personal invitation to you to stay connected with me on social media and more. I'd love to see you there, and I'm so grateful you came to be with me here. Invite someone else to join you in our queendom next time so they can feel the vibe of our tribe of Sister Nistas and Sister Nista lovers too. Remember to be kind, be authentic, be generous, be excellent, be grateful, and while you're at it, go ahead and be extraordinary, because that's just what Sister Nistas do, on purpose, through mission, with passion and compassion. It's a Black woman's world, baby, and you, my Sister Nista, are proof. I'm your self-discovery companion, your professional peacemaker, and your host, Tracy Mack. Wherever you are in the world, may you love and be loved by somebody. Peace.